Welcome back to TribPreps. I'm Eric Lee alongside Todd Sommerfeldt here to recap a night of quarterfinal action. Only 2 games, so might be a little shorter. Maybe we actually talk for longer.
No. Although we're getting to it earlier than
we are.
Typically do.
We are.
It's almost 1 o'clock. So.
Aquinas beats St. Croix Falls tonight, 38-14, and Cashton beats Potosi Castlefield 15-6 in a what sounded like quite the defensive game over there in Cashton.
I mean, let's start there.
Yeah.
Rather than, we were both at the Aquinas game tonight, but boy, what a night for Cashton. A 15-6 win over Potosi, which is a team that came in with ridiculous offensive numbers. As Coach Hermsbach said, it was a defensive battle. All the scoring in the first half.
Yep.
One thing he said was when they beat Bangor, the kids went crazy and they all came down. Now they beat Potosi, they're going to the state semifinals, and that brought everybody else in Cashton on the field. It wasn't just kids down there celebrating. It's been a long time. I think it was 1994 was the last time that Cashton has been to a semifinal.
Correct.
So 3 years removed from being 0-9.
Yep.
Amazing night for that program and that team. You might think that after they were kind of set up for Bangor being the be all end all.
Right.
That was what they shot for.
Yeah.
And to come back and then win again after that against a team the caliber of Potosi Castlefield and really shutting that offense down is amazing. So what a great night for Cashton. It's going to be a great week for Cashton.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what we talked about last week, right? I mean, I was impressed with the defensive line. So to see them repeat that, right? That it wasn't, the Bangor wasn't just like they were up for that game, right? That this was like, this is legit.
Yes.
So that's really cool to see. And they don't know their opponent yet.
But that game's on Saturday, the other quarterfinal.
Yep, they'll find out soon enough. But like
figure out where the next trip is. They've been able to play at home at this point. They'll hit the road now. They just have to figure out where, because they may be going to the other side of the state. They may just be headed south. Yeah. So we'll wait and find out what happens there. So.
Yeah. But the game we were at, both at Aquinas, and Bluebills really sound on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
This evening. They scored 24 points in the first half. Didn't need to score as much in the second half. Forced 3 turnovers in the second half. Ran the ball a lot. 301 yards, right?
Yep.
Is what they finished with.
The second week in a row, over 300 yards.
Flotmar only completed 5 passes. Granted, one of those was a long one.
It was 134 yards?
Yeah.
On those 5?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
One was a 74-yarder to Wiskowski.
Yep.
But
he had a 44-yard run?
Yeah, he did a nice little scramble. He was very appreciative of a Calvin Hargrove block, he said, on that run.
Hargrove did everything tonight, by the way.
He did do everything. 20 carries for 156.
Yep,
yeah, 25 carries for 156 and 3 touchdowns. His last touchdown run was the most impressive. He broke a tackle and then was in a clump of defenders and probably at least 4 or 5 guys around him and got out of it.
Yeah, bounced it to the outside.
Got outside, and it led Tom Lee to to say this is a fantastic quote. Fantastic quote. We had two priests on the sidelines. I told Calvin, I said, you have to go confession with Father right now after the touchdown because I said that had to be a sin.
Yes. But that was his night, man. He had another play earlier where he went off the right side. I don't know how many tacklers came to him. They kind of spun him around, so he's facing the line of scrimmage. And he just started using his feet and pushing, and he pushed the whole pack back another 5 yards on that run. So that was pretty amazing too. But in addition to that, the hits that he was giving out tonight had a really good first series to help set the tone for the defense, which I thought played very well.
Yes.
They really kind of wore them down, I think, speaking of St. Croix Falls.
Yeah.
Great running back coming into the game, averaging 153 yards a game.
Yeah.
He ends up with 128 on 20 carries, but they were hard yards, a lot of them. I mean, he broke a couple of big ones.
Yeah.
Even on that first drive, he had an 18-yarder or a 14-yarder
He had a 20-some yarder in the last play of the first half.
First half, he had a 22-yarder. He had
So
one 22-yarder in the second half.
Yeah, so take out some of those chunk plays, and I mean it's
and I think I put in my story in the game that they had St. Croix Falls had 12 running plays in the first half that resulted in 2 yards or less.
Yeah,
and Hargrove kind of spearheaded that defensive effort, but it seemed like every time there was a stop at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, it was somebody different.
Mm-hmm.
Hargrove was never far away from it.
Yep.
But like you said, in the second half, it turned into turnovers.
Yep.
I think it was Paulie Reutemann got on the fumble.
Yep.
There was a fumble.
Yep.
He also intercepted a pass at one point, but it got nullified on a flag. And then we had who had the interceptions?
Feehan and
Damian Lee. And both on tip balls.
Yes.
But one tipped by Joe Penke.
Yep.
I think that was Damian Lee's.
Yes.
Joe Penke tipped that one right to him. So they kind of wore St. Croix Falls down and did a really good job defensively and really didn't make many mistakes offensively. It was just another tough night of running the ball.
Yeah.
The wind was kind of interesting. To deal with tonight. There were a couple passes that Flatmeyer made that just kind of got caught up in the wind and sailed a little bit on it.
Yeah.
But he made a nice throw that way on the 74-yarder.
Yeah.
And made a really nice throw to Miskowski the other way.
Yeah.
Against the wind earlier in the game.
Yeah. Defensively, what I was impressed with, because it very early on, even just from that first run from WIAA, it was clear that St. Croix Falls wanted to get to the edge.
Yes.
And from there, though, Aquinas did a really good job. I mean, outside of a couple of those other chunk plays, of really setting the edge, right? Of either whether it was stringing it out or like setting it and forcing him back in. And it seemed like whoever was on the edge like knew exactly what to do. Like in the scenario, like they just completely trusted that whoever was behind them was going to flow and make the right read off of whatever they were doing. I was impressed with that. Panky said that was kind of a point of emphasis too, was trying to keep him inside where there are more bodies, right?
And hitting him low and hitting him hard.
Yeah.
They wanted to make an impression on him early. And in my story, I wrote a lot. There was just a little dump screen pass out of the backfield to him. And I think the second his feet hit the ground when he caught that thing, Hargrove was there just to drive him to the ground. I think they got a yard out of it. But I mean, he caught that ball, came down.
And that was it, yeah.
And those are the kinds of hits that Hargrove said they wanted to make to kind of make an impression on him early. And that may have done the trick because there were a couple of those on that first drive. Even though he had a couple big runs, by the time that drive was done, he really wasn't running people over.
No.
At any point after that. So shut down 128 yards, but kept him out of the end zone. He had 28 touchdowns coming in.
Yeah.
None tonight. So they kept him out of the end zone, which I would say is the defense doing its job. And undefeated.
Yeah.
Going on to play Wittenberg-Burnhamwood next Friday.
Yep.
Wisconsin Rapids. One win away from Camp Randall.
Yeah.
It's getting real now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time since 2007, I mean, that title run then, that they've been in a semi. So it's a big deal that Joe Penke was legitimately at a loss for words. And
well, did he even have anything to say about his touchdown pass?
He was,
he was getting tackled when he made this throw to the back of the end zone.
He said that he didn't. Yeah, so Joe Penke threw a touchdown pass on a 4th and 9 on a reverse, and Miskowski was wide. It was about a 15-yarder, right? But Penke threw it from about the 20. Miskowski there was nobody within 10, 15 yards of him. There was nobody there. But he said that, and there's a defender kind of like right on him. Came right through the line of scrimmage and could have completely blown up that play. But Peggy said that he didn't even realize it until like after he had thrown it. Like he was already like,
he was being tackled.
I'm aware. This is what he said, that he wasn't aware until he had already decided that he was going to throw it.
Oh, okay.
And he was on his way to throw it, and then by then he had it out. But Joe Penke used to play quarterback, and Flotmeyer used to be the backup, actually, that's
an awesome story.
Is what I was told this evening.
And why is Flotmeyer now the starter?
According to Joe Penke, but then he grew, got way better than me, and then became the number 1, which he said, I love it. So no ill
Sounds
will.
like a Joe Penke answer.
Yeah. And obviously the Blue Wolves are just fine with Flotmeyer at quarterback.
Yes.
But yeah, that was
134 yards. That's something, and the 44-yard run.
Yeah,
so he's usually a high percentage guy who comes complete. This might be the first time he's been under 50% all year. I would guess it has to be.
I mean, he came into tonight, but completing like 75% of his passes. It is in the 70s,
but still huge impact on the game.
Yeah,
even though he didn't complete a lot.
Yeah, but I think even that the Panky's touchdown pass just kind of showed that, like you said at the top, that Aquinas just really had its way offensively, right? Yes. That it was just able to move the ball at will, and tonight just happened to be on the ground, and that was something that coming in that they were willing to do, and we had seen that they were willing to do in the last couple of weeks. But they thought that they were going to get some man coverage and some one-on-one single coverage on the outside, and I mean those are the kind of matchups that they want to take with guys like Miskowski out there, right? But they like their matchups, obviously.
Well, I mean, on that long one, Miskowski just ran by the defense.
Yeah.
Nobody stayed with him.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he went to throw that ball, he already had 2 or 3 steps.
Yep.
On the closest defender, so he just kind of had to lay it in there.
Yeah.
And he did. So great game for Miskowski too.
Yeah.
He was there to make plays when they needed him. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean he had 2 catches even on the opening drive of the game that kind of kept things going.
Yeah, I think one was on a 3rd down.
Yep.
Like a 20-yarder or something like that, and then I think that other long one was on a 3rd down, maybe even 2.
The long touchdown pass was on a 2nd down.
I mean the one going the other way on that opening possession.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they may have been 3rd down catches.
Yeah. So a good win for Aquinas. I mean they got a nice opponent coming up next week. I mean the Chargers they've won 7 in a row and averaged 43.3 points in those wins. They've scored 79 points and went over Nakusa. They beat Stratford 8-6 earlier this year, and Spencer Marshfield Columbia's 40-0 earlier this year too. Those are 2 teams that St. Croix Falls beat to get to this point.
I was going to say you remember that the Aquinas just beat a team that beat Stratford.
Yep.
So that's not quite as intimidating when you see a team,
right?
Considering what they went out and did tonight. So I mean, beating Stratford's a big deal, and you don't just luck into that.
No.
Go out and when you beat a team like that. So
right, and they beat Amherst tonight, a team that they had previously lost to in the regular season.
Yep. Yeah. First game of the year, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it was early on.
Yeah. So they have 3 losses. One was a forfeit, I think.
Correct.
So the 2 losses that they have were by significant margins. If I remember, I think Amherst beat them pretty handily, right?
It was
the score for sure, but
I think it was a 2-possession game.
Really? Okay.
I think.
And Mosinee, I think, was the other team.
Correct.
And that would beat them handily.
Yes.
That was by at least 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
So maybe if Aquinas can get another good jump like they've had all year, they may end up at Camp Randall.
Yeah.
And there were upsets on the other side of the bracket too. So not even real concerned about running into a top tier team there, just a team that's playing well right now.
So it could be interesting. Could have a nice little finish of the season.
For them and Cashton or both. We'll see.
Yeah. But I think that wraps it up for us tonight.
Yes. A short one tonight.
Yeah. And hopefully we're back here again next week.
Yes.
To record another one of these bad boys. And as always, find our stuff on lacrossetribune.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get updates whenever we post stuff, including like video highlights. But check out lacrossetribune.com. I think the website's operating as we were led to believe it would operate.
It is now. Has been for a few weeks, but wasn't at the start, but we got it going now.
So check it out. But as always, thanks for watching.
Thanks.